Hello again. A couple of weeks ago I was part of a Christian Union event at a local university, and the question was given to the speaker: how could a loving God send anyone to an eternity in hell? And there were some assumptions made in the question, but there were also assumptions made by the response given. And the assumption is that hell is an ongoing place of suffering and torment and agony. Some would say it's separation from God, and it would be a place of self-torment more than inflicted by God. Others in the history of Christianity have said that it is God actually inflicting the suffering. So that was the assumption. The response was something along the lines of a sin or a wrongdoing, a wrong action against an eternal God has eternal consequences that require an eternal punishment that is experienced in an ongoing way for eternity. The other assumption is that there might be a little bit more underlying, is that humanity in some form or other will live on either in heaven or in hell. C.S. Lewis and a few others, John Piper, have all promoted this view that humanity is humans are eternal. They are either going to live in heaven or hell for eternity. And what if there's a different explanation? I think there is. I think there's a better explanation, and I think it's biblical as well. So I'm going to lay out my answer, and I'm going to do it as quickly as I can, as I would if I was giving it at a talk like the speaker was. Because I don't think the answer was satisfactory, really. Neither do I think it's really that good news. If God is love, how could he put people into a place where they will suffer eternally? So I'm going to lay out three things from the Bible that I think explain it a little bit better. So the first one is that in the beginning God created the world and it was good. But in Genesis 3 we see something went wrong. And one of the main things that happened in there was wrong action against God, and humanity fell away from God, was separated from him, and became under this curse of death. And one of the things, it was Ash Wednesday recently, where the phrase, "You are dust, and to dust you shall return." It's a remembering of our mortality, that without God's intervention we are all going to die. And that is the curse we live under, and that has broken the good world that God has created. So that's point number one. At the end of Genesis 3, mankind is kicked out of the Garden of Eden so that they do not live forever. Now in Jesus' Gospels, he teaches, this is the second point, he teaches that there's this place called Gehenna where God will destroy both body and soul. And you can see that in Matthew 10:28. He uses Gehenna, not hell, to reference an Old Testament prophecy where there will be a place that God's judgment rests on people, but it's not that they are alive and conscious and suffering, but they are dead. And you can see my other videos for explaining that verse in Matthew 10:28. And finally, I think God sends people to this place of destruction. Notice I've said Gehenna, and I haven't used any reference to ongoing suffering, because I don't think that's what Gehenna is. It's a place of death, an end for those who rebel or who cut themselves off from God's presence. I think that's a better reading of both Genesis 1 and of Matthew 10:28. But also, the third point is that in Revelation 21, we have this amazing hope of a place without death, without grief, without mourning. It's a place where broken humanity is restored, and the relationship with the God who will dwell with his people comes about. That's the vision that John has in Revelation 21. Now that is an amazing hope, that there is one day going to be a new creation where all people who want to be restored with God can be through Jesus, who have made that decision in this life, that they can be restored to Jesus. So that is my answer, is that God doesn't send people to this eternal place of existence where they're going to suffer horrific torments under the powers of the devil, which many people believe. But what God will do is he will create this new creation where those who want to live with God forever can, because they will be made new. The new creation won't have any pain, mourning, destruction anymore, but those who ultimately reject God will be destroyed. And the words for this destruction have often been translated hell. That is a much more complex word than many realize, and so I'd recommend you watch some of the things on my channel's videos to explain why I think there's better news, even when we look at God's judgment, than an ongoing eternal place of suffering. So God, in summary, God is promising to cleanse the world, and for some on Judgment Day that will be a place of destruction. For others it will be a place where everything is made new. If you want to be part of what is made new, Christianity offers this hope that through Jesus and his goodness and his death, he has taken the death that we deserve. And so, through Jesus, we can have eternal life. If you'd like to know more on that, get in touch. You can find my email is thehellproject19@gmail.com, or you can find my website, thehellproject.online. There's good news here, and God will not keep anyone in ongoing suffering for what they've done in this life. There you go. My name's Phil Duncalf, and I defend the view that without Jesus we are all dead.